Today is going to be a different type of outreach live. We're gonna basically go off the suggestions you give me. I didn't prepare, like I know I asked you last time for suggestions, but I think it's more interactive and fun if you guys let me know the suggestions of the outreach videos you'd like me to react to, if you have any. So let me know in the chat which videos you'd like me to react to, and we'll go from there. Hello, Leah, Martin, Carrie. Thank you so much for being here, guys. So any suggestions to react to an outreach video? What activist or what specific conversation would you like me to react to? If there's no ideas, I'll just go off my own list. But hello. So I'll give you one more minute to give me suggestions. It can be either an activist in general or a specific conversation. It has to be outreach, though. I'll be right back while I'll let you see if you have any suggestions. Debug your brain, moral warriors. I have not. Okay, I'm actually intrigued by moral warriors. Is that outreach? I found a few. Oh, nice new ones. It's always very exciting to see new activists, and it's often you can learn a lot from a lot of different activists. So the more activists we have, obviously, the more we can learn about, I guess. So okay, moral warriors. I never heard about them. Let me see. Okay. More warriors. Awesome. So I see. Okay, so I saw David Rams in the background, but I'm guessing he's not part of it. He was just part of it. Okay, cool. Awesome. So it seems like they might be a little bit like Mel and Steve. I'm just going to subscribe from the get-go. Are they like Mel and Steve, Carrie? I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay, are these the people you talked about? It's probably them. It seems like them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at, okay, so guys, would you prefer looking in general, because we're gonna do the same thing. If you don't give me a specific video, we'll just look at either the latest one or the most popular one. Which one of the two would you prefer me to select? Is it latest, the more interesting one, or the popular one? So should we go? Okay, let's vote. Guys, let me know in the chat. Would you prefer me to check out the latest videos or the most popular video? Well, Leah, we're probably gonna get to Amel and Steve anyways, for sure. These are all very good suggestions. Okay, so latest. You guys want latest? Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. So we're gonna do that one then. Do you not have an AM? Hold on. Starting. By the way, I think I might even comment a little bit on the editing, because I think that's part of the outreach in some sense, the outreach to the audience. And I think it can also be helpful to talk a little bit about the editing. And this is something I think is very, very good to, hold on. Why is my thing like this? Okay. Yeah, my screen is weird now. But anyhow, so yeah, they probably know each other. Yeah, like they were outreaching, like like they're using the background. Yeah, they were outreaching for the free. Makes sense. Okay. Hold on. There's a setting in my computer that's a problem right now. I'm just gonna. The display is completely messed up because of a video game. Hold on. Did I do it like that or what the hell? I think it got fixed. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so yeah, so what I was gonna say, it's pretty good to start, with just start with coming up. A lot of activists do that, but I think it's just, I mean, there's a reason why they do that.
Do you not have any empathy? Do you not care about their babies? Do you not care about that?
Circle of life.
It's not the circle of life. It's the circle of death.
Like normal farm, like going.
Isn't that very Mel and Steve? I just feel like it reminds me. Oh my God, Cliff Grant's there too. Like they're all in England.
Shotgun blast back in the head. Done.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, like as per usual, I'm commenting on the outreach style, not on the non-vegans answers, because I want to be obviously be better at outreach, and I think we have enough content on the internet on the non-vegans answers.
So, what did you think of what you saw on the screen to do with the industry, with what happens to the animals?
Quite unexpected.
Yeah.
And like, it was not expected. I was not expecting to see some animals start getting slit open. Like,
I actually, I mean, with Wither Free, obviously, I also do. Oh, I have actually news with Wither Free. We do the 3-minute movie challenges with Wither Free because we don't have many volunteers, and I actually really don't want to do the diamonds, which are basically the cubes. For Wither Free, it's just called a diamond. When you show footage in the street and you hold a TV. I don't want to do that here, not because it's not effective or anything like that. It's just because I do, my reverse psychology downtown, and I don't want people to know that it's about veganism just by seeing me and recognizing me and seeing me with footage, like straight up without doing the outreach. So that's why I don't want to do that. But we're gonna actually do the 3-minute movie challenges downtown now instead of in a park, which really did not work. So I'm so sick of doing it in a park. And downtown, I know it works because with my outreach, it always works downtown. So we're gonna do that, but we're gonna do it with tablets as well. So I'm very excited about that. But what I was gonna say is that obviously with Rutherford, I do the same way. But and by the way, I tweak things a little bit with the free so that it's not about suffering only kind of thing. And I define veganism, etc. But in my own outreach, I show footage after having established like their values when it comes to human slavery, so that we can refer back to it. And so that they don't know that it's about veganism. Like we've established rapport. Like there's a bunch of reasons why, really, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Savage. Yeah.
just unexpected. Like,
Yeah.
I came out Saturday, like, try to have a good time, come out, and some animals start getting slit open. Like,
Yeah.
it's just unexpected.
How did it affect you? What did you feel from it? Sadness, angry.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you've got to do what you've got to do. Like, there's a lot of people on this planet, and to feed all.
I don't actually. I know it's part of the like with a free protocol kind of thing, but I don't really ask that question anymore too much. I think it's a good question. It's just that the thing is like if they don't feel anything, which sometimes happens, you don't want that to be like an important thing to talk about. Like it's not really about how they feel at all. It doesn't really matter if they feel anger, sadness, all this stuff. And I understand why you ask it, because if they do feel it, they are connecting to the victims, and you're trying to highlight that and trying to make them feel in their body like what their victims are feeling. I totally get it. And I think it's good. It's just that I don't do it for what I said, like, like what if they don't care? Because it happens, like if they don't care, it doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. So, but I'm not criticizing or anything.
We can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet. That's been proven.
Yeah, I think it's very important. That's what I do with the free now. When I do with the free, I first start with like saying, so thank you so much for watching this. I know it's rough. Before we get into it, I just want to let you know first that really, this suffering is a result of seeing other animals as resources. We're here, we're vegans. We're trying to, make that change. We're trying to stop non-human animal exploitation, or I'll do that. I just want to do that first, usually because people try to, especially when I do with the free. for some reason, when I do with a free, people leave pretty fast, whereas when I do my own outreach, they stay for a while. I don't know what that's about, but um, what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm trying to get that in before because they often pile things up and overwhelm you with points that you don't have the time to respond to, and I'm trying to avoid not getting to the definition at all by saying it first. And I know it's not the best thing because you want them to kind of get there themselves. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe let me know what you think, if I should just say when I'm saying with the definition later. Maybe I should. I'm not sure about that. Probably I should, yeah. Because when I'm doing my own outreach, I set up their values, and then I say, and like then there's the footage, and then I say the definition, and then because I think it's important to say the definition first, so that we don't get into suffering too much. Get that out of the way. Even if they do get into suffering, at least we know what we're talking about. So I prefer doing that first. And yeah, I think it's important to define first veganism, of course, but also the fact that it's not a diet. Like, it's not about it being on a diet or something. It's really not using other animals in all the ways, like, and I give examples. I say not wearing their skin, not going to the zoo, especially. That's a good example, I think. So that they don't just stay on the diet, because they often do. I think it's important to say that in the beginning. I think. I'm not sure about the other things, but
Yeah, we can.
Scientifically.
We can, but
So if we can, then why do we need to put these animals through this suffering?
there's everybody. There's Mel and Steve, Cliff Grant, David Rams. It's so funny.
When they're sentient and they're alert and they can bleed and feel pain.
we just seem to each other. We go to war, we go from some other country.
And then I get that she's saying, is it right though? What I like to say is, like, well, I'm not sure I'm using that expression right, but I've ran it past my husband to make sure it was English. I say, two wrongs don't make a right, kind of thing. I mean, it's not because this is wrong and this is wrong that it makes it any less wrong. To be a non-vegan, to do this to the animals, like we can agree that human slavery, for example, is wrong, and that animal slavery is wrong. Then, like, it's not because they are human slaves that it's not as bad to have animal slaves. It's a very strange thing.
Is it right though?
Nice to happen, so I've seen
Yeah, but morally.
Vegan royalty in the background. They probably know each other. Well, yeah, like they're all doing outreach in the same places, apparently, which is fun. Well, warriors are fairly new. It's I've never heard of them, so it's always so encouraging to see more new activists. Hold on, I want to know how good they're doing as well. 190 views. Well, if they're new, that's pretty good. I mean, I don't know how new they are, but that's really good.
And ethically, is it right to do that?
No, it's not.
Because
I never say morally or ethically, to be honest. I'm trying to keep the conversation as practical and close to home, and like I'm trying, because when you talk about in my conversations, for example, about slavery, which is my solo outreach, people never bring up it's not ethical and it's not. Well, they can sometimes say not moral, but they usually don't use those words, because those words feel a little bit too philosophy to me and too conceptual. And I'm trying, because I don't want I'm really trying to make people understand that this is not like a philosophical. I mean, it is a philosophical conversation in a sense, but it's way more than that. It's about real victims. It's not like this is interesting to talk about kind of thing. No, it's very important. It's very grave, and you're the cause of it, blah, blah. I want to drive it home. And if you say ethical and moral, they can kind of see it as like, well, morality is subjective kind of thing, or like it's one philosophy amongst many, and they're all kind of all these philosophies are on the same footing, so
just because we can do something doesn't mean we should, right? Yeah. So, like with these animals, obviously, like they're completely innocent.
I like how succinct she is. I have a hard time doing that sometimes.
They're complete victims, and we're abusing them. And pardon?
So simple people.
I don't use abuse. It is accurate to say we're abusing other animals, absolutely, obviously. But the problem I have is that sometimes, I mean, kind of often to me, actually, not often, I don't know, but sometimes people will bring up like, well, abusing someone is like when you're using them in the wrong way. And so if they believe that using other animals is not using them, that it's not wrong to use them at all like commodities, then we're not abusing them. Then it's about using them in the correct way. And so I don't like that because it can be not received as we mean it, which is like it's objectively abuse because we were literally like hurting them or restricting their freedom. We are doing all these things to their bodies with like there's no body sovereignty, etc., etc. So I just say it in another way. I say we're enslaving them because that's a strong word that people understand the gravity of. For example, exploiting them is not the best word because people really don't understand the word. Um, but sometimes you say it. I say using them as objects, using their bodies, um, commodifying them. I don't know. If you have better words, let me know because I'm always trying to find better words. But who is in the background? I can't see them on my phone. Well, it's Mel and Steve. David Rams, Mel and Steve, Cliff Grant, and there might be way more people. Actually, I think it's like one of these events that they were like the big with the free events where they do a lot of like a day of outreach or something crazy like that. It's really really awesome. It might have been there.
Sorry.
So the same about people, though. So,
Yeah, but I'm talking about the animals right now. Like the animals that, like you just saw what happened to them.
I think that's great, and I would add, I would say, yeah, but you are contributing to it directly, and it's very easy, actually. Like, not very easy. I wouldn't say very easy. I guess it's not good to say it like that because it's guess they could say, well, it's not, whatever. But it's something you can change today, right now. Whereas, human slavery, for example, it can be harder to, be against. Literally, like you can buy fair trade. You can buy secondhand as much as you can, but it's harder actually to avoid human slavery than it is to avoid animal slavery. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it, but it's really good news for the animals. Um, and so you say, yeah, I think I would just say, well, these are both important issues on there, on they, and you look, we're vegan, so that means you can be vegan as well, and why aren't you, kind of thing.
Right? We can pretend it doesn't exist. We can be ignorant because we want.
Also, I know Jamie Logan gets shown a lot, but her recent video on this lady with Rowdy Girl was worth watching big time, in my opinion. Awesome, but that's not outreach, is it? Because I'm not only watching outreach in these lives.
Selfish pleasures for 5 minutes, like for a meal, but that costs them their whole entire life. Do you know what I mean? That's their whole entire existence. And if you was the victim, would you want to get your neck slit, or would you be wanting someone to help you?
I'm trying. Okay, I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong, but I prefer not to focus on murder as much as I can because then they could be like, well, what about pesticides? And so, and not saying that vegans are like all happy about pesticides, but it's not a vegan issue. It's not like we're using them, we're exploiting them, enslaving them, etc. Even if we have to, change that, obviously, while we're saying that, but we have to repeat ourselves just in case. But it's not a vegan issue, so I would just say using them, because, for example, then they could say like, well, yeah, but they're murdered as well if it's self-defense, for example. Then you could say, well, it's just self-defense, but then they bring up pesticides, and then you're kind of like, god damn it, it's annoying. Like, we're not getting to the core of the argument there, but
it wouldn't really matter at that point, so just be over.
It's not.
Jamie Logan did a funny outreach in her latest Rogers video. We can watch that after this. This is 8 minutes long.
It's not just over just like that. They go through life, like their whole life of suffering. So chickens, for example,
Yeah, I get it. I get it why we're focusing on suffering, but it's not good because then they say, well, then what about the backyard eggs kind of thing, you know? And then you'll have to do a whole different conversation again. I think focusing on freedom and focusing on body sovereignty and just not using them as objects, and that the mentality is the root cause of the suffering, anyways, is the thing to focus on. Because then they go straight to humane, you know?
they're selectively bred to become fat at a very early age.
But footage is different. For example, I mean, I have a video from, I'm not sure, what was it? It's Animal something. I'm not exactly sure, but whatever. It's like an organization, and it's a vegan, you know, animal. How you call it? And she's an investigator who's gone into a lot of farms, and I mean, you know, whatever. And she's filmed a lot of footage, and she talks about it while they show how all these animal slaves are, you know, the animals that are exploited by humans are treated. But because right after that I say it's not about welfare kind of thing, I mean it's fine. And also in the video she talks about like this is humane, like this is considered humane, blah blah. So that helps. Um, and I know it's focused on the treatment, but it's important I think to show the suffering because that's how many, me included, uh, people were led to veganism by empathizing. Sorry, that's a hard word to pronounce sometimes. Empathizing with the victims. It's much easier to connect with their suffering than if you're not saying they're suffering, and then you get why it's a problem even when they're not suffering, that they're exploited. So it's different for that, but not in the conversation. I wouldn't focus on the suffering at all.
They're slaughtered at 6 weeks old, and they're called Frankenstein chickens. So they're fed up all these antibiotics, and that's also what.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, you know, like focusing on the, you know, like I understand. Again, I understand. I've done that before, etc. I really get it, but I don't like focusing. You know, on like it's not healthy for you. Like, how is that relevant? You know, if it's healthy for the oppressor or not. I understand because like people care about their health, but do they really? Often they don't really care, and also it doesn't work to talk about that because this might work for the food system, that portion of the food system, for example, where animals are exported, but then it doesn't work for horse carriages, for example. It's not unhealthy for people to be in horse carriages, so it doesn't. It only talks about a very specific type of non-human animal exploitation, and when you could just address the whole thing with one argument, you know, and be very um, efficient in that way, you know, and not making them think about themselves instead of the victims. Because a lot of people talk about the health benefits of a plant-based diet actually way more than there are people talking about the victims. So we don't even need to at all talk about that, honestly. Outreach is important. Thanks for your efforts. Could never do it myself as I don't like talking with people. Would definitely start making fun of people, and that's not helpful. I hate talking with people. I hate talking with people. I have to kick myself out of the house to do it. I feel very good afterwards when it went well, especially when it didn't go well, and meaning they didn't feel receptive. You never know really what they're going, how the seed is planted. You never really know if you succeeded or not, but in some sense, I don't know, whatever. But it's always at least a seed planted. But I hate it. I have to kick myself to do it. So really, you would not. I think there's way more activists than you think, outreachers that do it that don't like it. But then afterwards, you feel so good because you really did something. So you know, I get it. And also, I'm someone who's very sensitive and emotional, and I get angry very easily. And so I have to work very hard at not showing it. Sometimes it doesn't work. So, for example, Joey, you see as well, like he gets a lot of, he has a hard time not showing his anger sometimes, which is understandable. So yeah, making fun of people is not helpful. I agree. But anyway, so maybe you think that, but it's not true, you know. But even if you don't want to do outreach, I mean, you don't have to do outreach to be an activist, you know, and to help the animals. You don't have to at all. There's so many, you know, different types of activism. You might be doing already types of activism. That'd be interesting to know what types you're doing if you're doing activism. I mean, your name is Hardcore Herbivore, so maybe you are doing comments or something. But like there's so many different types, and I think it's worth touching on, like this stickering, which is great. There's making obviously content. You can be anonymous while you make vegan content. You can help other activists with editing, or I don't know, like there's art. There's people who do vegan art. There's many different types of activism. You can, always use your own skills and your own background in education as well to help your activism, like lawyers, for example, helping with law or something when it comes to the status of non-human animals. So, hello, Kyobel. Hello, Natalie. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Yeah, always focus on use and exploitation. Yeah, use is abuse. Yeah, definitely. Uh, I guess if you said it like that, maybe they would get it. But then they would maybe talk about how they don't agree. So maybe it would be kind of like an unnecessary spending out time. Or maybe it is necessary. I don't know. I try to avoid going there at all. Hello, Louis. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bible Dumb Podcast. I try to complete my first week vegetarian this week easy. In France, we have many industrial full. Sorry for my English. I come from France too. We're not. Well, it's great that you're. I don't know. Well, the problem that I want you to know, like I think something that could be really cool for you to watch would be Dairy is Scary on YouTube. It's a very short video on the dairy industry, for example. It's not okay to be vegetarian. It's not okay because you're still exploiting and enslaving, participating in the enslavement and paying for the enslavement of other animals when it comes to so many things like their skins, for example, the zoo, or experiments, horrible experiments on them, or eggs, whatever. So really, it's just not okay to be vegetarian. Please go vegan. It's really not as hard as you might think. A lot of people think it's very hard, but it's so not. Like a lot of vegans have said, I really thought it was way harder before, and then once you make the decision, you understand, um, and you understand how to do it. It's very like it's just transitions. Like all transitions are a little weird, but then once you know how to do it, which is really easy, you'll be comfortable. And also, when you understand how horrible it is to be a victim of um, exploitation at the end of humans as an animal, it will be so easy for you to be vegan. Actually, it will be horrible for you to even think about like the fact that you weren't vegan before. So you know, um, and honestly, in France, like it's pretty. Like I was in France for like 20 years, and honestly, it's the same as here. Like I feel like it's the same as many countries. I'm in Montana, and it's really. I think it's quite comparable to where I was in France, in the north of France. So I don't think it's as hard as you might think it is. And people often paint it as a hard thing to go vegan, but it's really not hard. And please consider the victims and watch Dominion, Dairy and Scary, and go vegan immediately. Like the animals really need you to go vegan immediately, like yesterday. Thanks for being here. Hello, everybody. Let's continue.
What you're consuming when you're eating these animals, but they're selectively bred to be fattened up so big.
Yeah, I get it. This is powerful, but again, it's focusing on the treatment. And what about hunting? We're not touching on hunting there. And that's like, for example, I always have that in the back of my head here because this is all kind of a horrible place to be a vegan. Like, there's so many. I mean, it's a big culture on non-human animal exploitation. It's kind of horrible here, to be honest, in Montana. Like, there's obviously, I mean, I'm not sure if it's more horrible than in other places, but in some sense, like, it's just like the maximum way of exploiting other animals. You just do it, like hunting, rodeos. Obviously, there's like, we're in a university town, and there's obviously experiments on animals here. Um, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I have dark sense of humor. That's how I deal with things. But I think I can be vegan, but vegetarian is more easy to start. What about the victims of like you transitioning to veganism and you taking your time with it? Why do you think it can't be vegan? What about it? It's very easy to be vegan. Like, just Google it. Literally Google it. It's very easy to be vegan. Um, Please think about the victim's perspective. If you are one of these animals that are enslaved and all of that, how urgently would you want humans to stop doing that to you? And maybe for you to understand, you would have to watch. Maybe let's do that, guys. Let's just take just a second to watch Dairy and Scary together, because we can talk about it as activism afterwards. I actually said it to someone recently as well. Let's just do that. Hard to watch, obviously, but let's do this.
Okay guys, so since everyone's so busy these days, I'm going to explain to you how the dairy industry works in 5 minutes. Like other female mammals, cows only lactate, or produce milk, when they're pregnant or have a newborn to feed. So the dairy industry inseminates or impregnates cows starting at the age of around 12 months over and over and over again so they keep making milk. And it's a rather routine process. You see, first the industry jacks off a bunch of bulls, sometimes using a hand or help from an electro-ejaculator, which is basically a giant cow dildo that goes into the anus of the bull until he blows. And that semen is collected and then inserted into the vagina of a female cow with a long tube, usually while she's confined in what the industry calls a rape rack. And sometimes they put their fist right into the anus of the female cow, to loosen the area.
To make the process as effective as possible.
What are you feeling for in there when you, it's a bit jumpy? I think I would be if someone did that to me.
Bringing it out, massages a little bit just to relax everything and help that semen go where it needs to go.
You must be responsible for a lot of calves.
Yes.
And when that baby cow is born, it's pretty much immediately taken away from its mother and locked in a crate. Because if it stayed around mom, it would drink her milk. And that shit's for us. And you see, a mother cow's bond with her young is very strong and affectionate. And she sometimes cries out for days in search of her baby. But nobody gives a shit. If the baby's a male, his throat is slit and he's sold for veal. And if it's a girl, she's raised to be a milk machine like mom. So dairy cows are continuously, repeatedly kept pregnant their whole lives to keep them lactating. This leads to premature aging, exhaustion, and mastitis, a painful yet common condition in dairy cows, which is inflammation and sometimes infection of the udder. Pus and blood in the milk of dairy cows is also common, so it's usually filtered. But not completely, because in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, up to 400,000 somatic cells are legally allowed in every milliliter of cow's milk. And in the United States, 750,000 somatic cells per milliliter. In Brazil, 1 million. And somatic cells, most of which in this case are white blood cells, do the same thing that erupt on the top of a big zit. So you could call it pus. The more bacteria, inflammation, and infection, the higher the somatic cell count. But don't worry, there's a limit. And when a dairy cow is finally too physically and emotionally exhausted to continue on, she collapses. These cows are called downers, and they are dragged out by whatever means to be killed and sold for beef. It's common in the industry, even on organic dairy farms.
You get the gist. I recommend obviously watching the whole thing, but this is not what we're really talking about here. But yeah. So what do you think about having a cat eating honey, having wool? Well, wool and honey are not vegan. It's still non-human animal exploitation, so no. Having a cat is a little bit of a gray area. I mean, a cat, yeah, I get it. Like, it's not really a gray area. You're feeding them the bodies of exploited animals, so that's fucked up. But also, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, like basically it's part of an easy solution. You just get vegan cat food, which has been veterinarian approved. So there's been studies showing it's totally fine. They basically took all of the like the nutrients that cats need, but from like plants, and they did it in the lab or whatever. So it's totally feasible to have a cat and feed them fully plant-based food. So that would be the many dishes have milk. It's really hard to yeah. It's actually really easy. I was in France when I started to be vegan in 2012. I was in my teens. It's if I can do it, you can do it. There's way more options in France. When I left France in 2018, there were so many options compared to when I started. It's way easier than you think. Again, you're thinking about your perspective without like stepping in the shoes, so-called, of other animals that are actually having horrible lives. And obviously, even if they had a good life, it doesn't matter. They're still enslaved and used for their bodies. They have no body sovereignty. What if it was you? Put yourself in that scenario as the victim, and then it becomes very easy. The best alternative is very easy. Like they said, there's so many different types of milks that are plant-based. I think there's 17 now or something. Just honestly Google it. The only thing that you have to do is understand how horrific being a non-vegan is for your victims, and just have to stop enslaving them and seeing them as your resources. And then from there, you just Google everything. There's so many forums, vegan forums, online to help you. There's so many people who will gladly help you doing that. Please reach out to them with any questions you might have. And also, there's probably vegan groups where you live as well. So try to find those. That would be very helpful to you, I think. All right, let's go back to. Thank you for watching this, by the way, and being open-minded. Hold on. I'm having a problem. Where is this? Oh, it's because I'm not okay. Yeah, I had a hard time. Sorry. That was a little segue, but it's always important if you have a non-vegan in the chat, to talk about this, because this is why we're here after all.
But they're selectively bred to be fattened up so big that their legs snap, and they're just numb, and like I think
Putting them through unnecessary pain and suffering.
Interesting word. Unnecessary. You said it, not me. But also, like, he's gonna say it's not necessary because we could be nice to them while we exploit them and enslave them. And that's why I really don't like doing any type of outreach anymore. That's why I don't like doing with the free as much as my solo outreach, because my solo outreach, you covered everything before you get to the vegan part. Because I talk about abolitionists and welfareists when it came to human slavery and chattel slavery. And so people say, well, no, it's not okay because they're owned as property. They're not free, they're still exploited. It's not okay even if it's humane exploitation, because this is literally something that happened in history. Literally, I have to actually continue the podcast on the book about the comparison between human slavery and animal slavery, because this is very helpful. But anyways, literally we talked about it in the last book club, in the Regan's book, about how they were abolitionists and welfareists, etc. And the same thing. Cheese is actually addictive. I had the same thing when I was vegetarian. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if you miss it. Remember, like, you are victimizing someone else. They are being exploited and enslaved for you, and often in great suffering. But it just what the like the it being comfortable for you and it being convenient for you doesn't really matter. For example, if a slave owner was to justify owning a slave because like it's more convenient for them, or they like it, or they want to, you'd say, well, that's messed up when it comes to humans, right? It's the same thing when it comes to other animals. We are all sentient and we all need freedom. We all have fears and desires. We all can feel pain. So there's no real reason why we should use that excuse when it comes to other animals. Vegan cheese is great. That's true. Please don't make exceptions. There's no exceptions when it comes to slavery, like enslaving someone else. You're not ever justified to do that to them and to put them into enslavement. Anyways,
That's unnecessary. Like a normal farm, like you go in, shotgun blast the back of the head, done.
But would you want that to happen to you?
You wouldn't see it coming.
She's good at being succinct.
It's easy to say that when you're not in the victim position, though, isn't it? Like I could say, like someone could be getting abused over there. I could be like, oh well, you know, it's not me. So, but if I was that victim and I was in the victim position, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I would want.
Yeah. Sorry. I just remembered something. Yesterday I did outreach, and it was all blurry, and I'm so mad at myself because it was really good. Hopefully, the person who helps with my editing, Marcelo, is going to be able to unblur it. But yeah, and I'm going to do outreach today and tomorrow again. So this is going to be very helpful. Hopefully.
Someone to help me, and I definitely would. Like if I was an animal, I wouldn't want someone to be paying for my body.
I think it's very helpful to tell people that we are animals as well. These are just different species of animals.
If it doesn't make this right, though, does it? Just because there's so many other things going on in the world that's bad that we are considering as bad.
This is one of the bad things that keeps people going.
We just established that a plant-based diet you can survive and thrive.
It's incredibly expensive.
It's not. It's not. I'm a mum.
Yeah, I something that's been really working very well for me when they bring up the health thing and the expensive thing. I actually give them the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics thing because it's very, very credible. And obviously the study about it's 1/3 cheaper to be on a plant-based diet in the Western countries, whatever, because it's also very credible. And by the way, all the links are always in the descriptions of all my videos. And when I say that, before I say that, I say it's actually really, a lot of people don't know that, but it's very empowering to know that it's less cheap. It's actually completely healthy if it's well planned, whatever. And I say it's easy to have a well planned plant-based diet because it really is, and people don't know that, or they don't want to know that. So saying it like that, it's very empowering. It makes them shift kind of their perspective as like, oh, we're on a team to figure this out. And I've only had very good responses when I frame it like this. And I take them at their word. I don't believe necessarily often that they are in good faith when they say that they think those things. But because I kind of pretend that they're in good faith, they actually kind of like they have an out. And so they are more able to be like conceding of it. And it's working very well to keep people open-minded, honestly. I highly recommend doing that.
And I can afford it, and I don't have a big amount of money. You can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet, and you can afford it. It's just knowing how to, researching how to. So, like stocking up with seasonings, things like that. Do you cook at home, or do you do? Even in restaurants and that, you can get an app called Happy Cow, and it basically like shows you where all the vegan or plant-based options are. Because at the end of the day, you're consuming you're consuming an animal's body. Do you not have any empathy? Do you not care about their babies? Do you not care about that?
Circle of life.
It's not the circle of life. It's the circle of death.
I don't say the circle of death. I don't like that. You could say, well, then enslaving other humans and literally murdering them could be the circle of life. Like it's the same thing. Like just put a human instead of an animal in this situation, and then you'll understand very quickly that you're saying something horrific, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
If you was to walk into a slaughterhouse, would you be hungry walking in there? Would your stomach be rumbling and being?
But that's kind of irrelevant, I understand, but I don't like that.
Like, I want this food. Really? I don't think so. I think you fall for the bright packaging and all of these.
Yeah, but I think it's helpful when you're trying to give them an out. Not an out. It's not really that. It's not what I mean. It's like because like this is very much like this right now. But I think maybe there's no way to. I just feel like she said, do you have no empathy? And I think it's kind of giving him a door to like say, well, I don't care, so I'm gonna end the conversation, which you don't really want. That's why, again, I don't like doing this. I prefer reverse psychology because really that's the only way I found for myself to feel really like I've already gotten you before it's about veganism because you already answered for humans, and then I can just tell you name the trait and then we'll be set. Because like I say, well, I could say I'll refer back to the human slavery example and say, well, slave owners didn't care really, like they didn't necessarily care about humans being slaves. It benefited them. How is this any different? I think that can help.
But the taste comes from seasonings, not from the actual flesh. It's being seasoned with all these different seasonings that are vegan. Do you know what I mean? Haven't got animal products in them. So, do you not care at all?
I think it's better to not say animal products, just to say, because you call it like it's a euphemism in some sense. Because yeah, they are products. They are literally commodified, but I think it's better to kind of recalibrate what it really is by saying their bodies and their secretions or whatever, things like that, their skins.
You don't care.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. If they don't care, you should say, like, does it matter if a murderer doesn't care about their victim? Like, does it mean it's okay if you don't care? No, it's not about that. It doesn't matter if you don't care. It doesn't make it okay for you to do this to other animals.
It's a shame because, like, if I just hope you're never in a victim situation in your life.
She does. She does. Honestly, it's completely natural and understandable to wish for them to be put in this scenario so that they finally freaking stop and finally understand. So I think a lot of us do hope that, because you hope that a freaking like a murderer will be put in this situation of like empathizing with the victim so that he will finally freaking stop.
I really hope you're not, because, like, I have been in my life. I was in an abusive relationship physically, so I know what it's like to be abused and be in a victim situation where no one's helping me. So that's how I can align my empathy with what goes on with these animals that are completely and utterly innocent. I think when you put yourself in their shoes, like, it's the same as a dog, a cat. They're all the same.
No matter what I say, I support it, I don't. It's not going to stop. It's not going to change.
It is
Because of
changing.
you.
The world is changing, and it's no longer sustainable to keep.
I think it would be helpful to say, like, well, there's always going to be murder, there's always going to be rape, right? Some of it, but there can be way less of it. And even if there is some people being, for example, in the Nazi regime, there were plenty of Nazis around. It doesn't make it okay for you to be a Nazi just because there's Nazis around. You're part of the problem. You're making it happen. And if you're standing on the right side of history, because this is the right side of history, the vegan movement, just like the anti-Nazi Nazism movement was on the right side of history. By the way, just a little side note, like the Holocaust, the human Holocaust, was actually modeled after U.S. slaughterhouses. Just side note. And also the word Holocaust comes from literally, like, it used to mean, I think that, yeah, the root or the word Holocaust. It's either the root or the word itself means it's called animal sacrifice in a temple. It's basically a massacre. Yes. So what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Sorry about that.
Keep living this way. Like, even the World Economic Forum has said,
Yeah. Well, I said what I want to say. Like, basically, I think that every time you put in a human scenario, people get it super fast.
have to move towards a plant-based food system by 2035 to even sustain ourselves on this planet. So this cannot go on for any longer, because there's 86 billion land animals slaughtered for 8 billion humans.
I don't like that because you're not taking into account fish, and I think that's very important because we always forget freaking fish when they are the most exploited animals on Earth. And I understand because we just kind of slips our mind, but that's really bad when you think about it. Like, there are literally 2 trillion-ish fish per year that are literally taken out of the ocean and used and stuff like that, like obviously murdered, etc. So I just say like about 2.7 trillion fish and 80 billion land animals, whatever. But also it's not good because even with the land animals or even the fish, you're not even considering the number of them in zoos or in aquariums or being tested on, or etc., etc., etc. Like horse carriages, for example. Like there's so many more that we're not even taking into account because we're only focusing on the killing, when really we should not be focusing on that, because if we're focusing on the killing by humans, like we're also focusing on other things that are not part of veganism, like I guess crop death, or like pesticide is actually a better thing to talk about because this is intentional killing. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about the use and enslavement and exploitation of the bodies of other animals. They don't have to be killed for that to happen.
And we're using up so much land to be able to even feed these animals that we've ripped down 85% of the rainforest. And we're using up so much.
Yeah, I don't like talking about the sustainability. Who cares? Like, it's not about that. Even if it was sustainable to exploit other animals, like, still not okay. It's kind of messed up. But I totally understand. I really appreciate them, like, being out there doing outreach. It's hard. And I do plenty of mistakes myself all the time. But this is just nitpicking. I'm literally nitpicking so that we can become better. And I can become better. And we can all talk about this. So I am definitely nitpicking. But this is actually important to not really make it about sustainability, because it's not about sustainability. You could exploit insects and it would be sustainable. Who cares? And also, horse carriage is not necessarily bad for the environment. It's not about that.
So much land.
And I used to do that all the time, by the way.
So, like it's not sustainable. It's the animal protein is not healthy for you. But what concerns me is your lack of empathy.
I don't like this because it's like you could be a vegan who's not healthy, and you can be a vegan who's healthy as hell. This is not a diet. It's not about your health. It's not about you at all. The point is that we have to come to drive home is that it is totally easy and to be healthy and on a well-planned, fully plant-based diet. That's all. That's all we need to talk about, really.
I don't know if it's a front or if you actually felt something for these animals. I don't know. Like,
He said, I don't know if it's a front. He's like,
I really do hope that you're never in a victim position in your life, because it's just about being emotionally intelligent.
No, I don't like that. It's not about emotional intelligence. I understand what she's getting at, but I just say it's just basic decency to not do this to someone else. It's basic decency. It's not even like, it's nothing else. Not being emotionally intelligent. It's not like, this is the bare minimum we're asking. Like, we're asking you to leave them alone. It's the bare minimum. We're not asking something. We're not asking you to be kind or anything like that. It's not kind to not rape someone. It's not kind to not murder someone. It's not kind to like not exploit someone else and not use them as a slave and as an object. It's not about kindness. It's just being basically, I mean, it's just basic decency, basically,
enough to
Let me know what you think about the video as well, or what I say. Who is this you're watching? It's activists I've never heard of before. They're new, apparently. So Moral Warriors. Sorry, I have a hard time saying this. I'm just gonna show you the channel. Please subscribe to them. We need to support each other. Moral Warriors.
put yourself in someone else's position that's suffering, just because they can't scream or they haven't got a voice. Well, pigs can scream. You have to put yourself in another person's position to understand things on a deeper level.
We can almost have two conversations with David Rams and her. I can almost tell what he's talking about. So funny.
You know? So would you watch some more documentaries?
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can find like a video kind of like what you just saw, it's called Dominion. It shows you everything, the realities of the industry, because at the end of the day, like this bright packaging and stuff is fooling you because they want you to buy these products. That's the reality of what's going on, do you know what I mean? So, and then there's one called Game Changers on Netflix. It shows how athletes, bodybuilders are all plant-based and living and thriving, and you can get more protein on a plant-based diet. It's just about changing your perspective and seeing things from a different angle, you know? I'll give you that. Right, have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you for filming yourselves doing outreach, especially because that is a very powerful, impactful way of doing activism, to film yourself doing outreach. So thank you guys for being activists for the animals, being amazing. All right. Okay. So, guys, if you have a suggestion, we might be just going back to the suggestions you already gave earlier. For the next one, we're just gonna have one more because I have to do outreach tonight and I don't want to be too late. So it will be like about 2 hours. It's my goal. So there's like different types that were said. Well, um any suggestions, or maybe I should just go back to what you had suggested before. So we have different options. We have debug your brain, we have Mel and Steve, we have Jamie Logan's also. So either we have debug your brain, Mel and Steve, Jamie Logan. Is that all? Yeah. So which one to watch, guys? All right. Let me hold on. All right, guys. Let's vote on the next one. Jamie's Corner, yeah, Jamie Logan. That's okay. So we have one debug your brain. We have one. Oh yeah, that's pretty much all that you voted so far. Kyobel, are you talking about me or are you talking about someone else? Can we tip you? And do you mean donations? Okay, I'm just gonna answer as if you said that because I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But anyways, whatever. So yes, I have a Patreon page if that's what you mean. There's like 3 different tiers, like $1, $3, $5, and it can be more, of course. And there's like exclusive content every month, and there's exclusives, like we already said that, and there's a Q&A, stuff like that. So if you want to support my activism, that's very helpful, and it's in the description below. Anyhow, so guys, vote which video next. It's gonna be the last video of today. By the way, I'm gonna be doing this every 2 weeks from now on. Debug Your Brain 1, Mel and Steve 2, or Jamie Logan 3rd. Which one next? Let me know in the chat. Hello. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for saying the description is so complete. I put all my links there. Yes. Thank you so much for being here, Kyobel, and being open-minded. Okay, 1. So we have 2 people who want Debug Your Brain. So I think we're gonna do that. Okay, we have a Jamie Logan. Oh, and we have also a Mel and Steve. So, oh, Jamie Logan 3. So far, Jamie Logan is leading. So do we have a tiebreaker? If you want to let me know. can just put like numbers. So 1, debug your brain, 2, Mel and Steve, and 3, Jamie Logan. So far it's Jamie Logan, apparently. I think. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay, so yeah, we have a tiebreaker. It's gonna be Jamie Logan, guys. I've never reacted to her, so that's cool. So we're gonna react to her latest video then, or do you want me to react to something in particular? Oh, she has a lot of subscribers. Okay, I mean compared to me. So it has to be outreach though, guys. Yeah, Harvind is really cool. Yeah, it's a bit too late for now. Sorry about that, Alpha Beta, but next time come back and we'll watch him. I really like him. You never watched her? Well, now is the time. So, hello, nerds like us and everybody. Thank you for being here, guys. So, do we do the latest video or do we do a specific video for Jamie Logan, guys? Okay, so the latest, this is not an outreach video. This is outreach, I think. Yeah, this is the one you thought we should watch, and also it's outreach, and also it's the latest one. So let's do that, guys. Okay.
High quality music and sound effects that you can actually.
Okay, let's do that.
What the hell is up, you guys? My name is Jamie Logan, and today we.
Sorry, forgot.
We are here at Rutgers University, my alma mater, and I am holding a sign that says, all Rutgers dining halls should be vegan. Change my mind.
A lot of times you cannot afford the broccoli.
Do you think that all the Rutgers dining halls should be vegan?
What about people who enjoy meat?
But what about the animals that want to live?
I've long suspected that Rutgers has had a connection to the meat industry.
What do you think about it? 100% vegan. The students are trying not to make eye contact. What do you guys think?
I would be for that, but I think Rutgers is too cheap and too stubborn in their ways to ever do that.
Okay, so you're saying maybe Rutgers won't do it, but you would like to see them do that?
I think realistically, a more plant-based, a more fresh, more healthy alternatives, especially meat alternatives, I think that would be great.
No, I'm saying fully vegan.
Oh, I don't know. It'll take time for people to like adjust to that. Maybe like they should have like a goal.
Well, I say shock them into kindness, honey. What do you say?
I don't know.
I believe in vegetarian things and everything.
I know that's kind of a unique part of her persona or whatever, like style. I don't like the light, kind of humorous way of doing it. I mean, I know I myself laugh a bunch in the outreach, but I feel like it's kind of, maybe it is nervous laughter for her, or it's like trying to, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit too light. I think it's too light, making it too light. Because when, like, the only times that I really myself do laugh is when we agree on something. But not when they're saying, like, they're giving excuses. You know, I think it's a weird message to give. Like, it's not very, I don't think it's good to do that. The way she speaks does make it look too light, like I'm not alone. Yeah, I've heard that from other people as well. Yeah, I don't like that. I've already had this thought when watching her videos before.
Everything, but at the end, it's people's choice.
Yeah, see, it's like it's making it like a. I get it. Like making it a game is good to make people involved and interested. Okay, I get it, but it's not like that fun. Like we're talking about something super freaking serious, you know. If this was like about human slavery, for example, like really about human slavery or something, we wouldn't be so jokey, but it would be inappropriate, right? Because it is inappropriate, I think. And I get it, so it's supposed to make it more entertaining, but I think at some point it's inappropriate and makes people think it's too light of a matter. It's kind of like, oh, whatever, you know?
What about the animal's choice?
Yeah, that's where the problem begins. That's where the debate begins.
Like, why? Like climate change?
Absolutely. Are you?
So,
Great question. So, are you aware of how many reasons?
I don't like that. I don't like that. I get it, but no, we're not talking about like a plant-based diet being good for the environment. Like, yes, if they're like saying it's good for the environment, you're like, yeah, that's a great benefit of a fully plant-based diet, but this is different than veganism, blah, 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 because veganism is only about the animal victims. It's a social justice movement against non-human animal exploitation and slavery. I think it's very important to say that. It's the only movement they have. And also because you can be non-vegan in a way that is sustainable, that is horrific to the animals. You could have actually more victims if you exploited insects. So it's completely disjointed, and also it's only looking at the food picture, which is one form of animal exploitation that is a big form of like one of the biggest ways we exploit other animals. But what about horse carriages? What about animal testing? Like all these things might not be bad for the environment, but they're not okay. So yeah, but I understand. Again, I understand. I was part of like the organized a Vegan Earth Day march yesterday last year, and so I understand the strategy. I totally get it, and I care about the environment. I do care about the environment, and it does impact non-human animals, of course, but we're not talking about utilitarianism or whatever. We're talking about only talking about not using other animals as commodities, etc. I mean, veganism, the original definition is that. That's, I think, is the right one. Okay, let's see what you think. So, what do you think about how she looks at the camera after they answer her question, Lol? I don't like that. I think it breaks rapport for sure, but maybe not for her because obviously our conversations seem pretty. I don't like that personally, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. But again, I think it's making it not as serious a conversation as it should be. I do like the light-hearted approach, not because it's not a serious issue, but it breaks the ice and gets their guards down. Sure. But I think if you were going to do that, then you should do it in the beginning, which I do actually. I do kind of do that. Like, it's like, would you like to do a social experiment? Like, it's fun, you know, kind of thing. It's making it a game, you know, and we're laughing about how my questions are so straightforward, and it's kind of like, why are you even asking that? It's weird kind of thing. But once it comes to the actual objections and talking about non-human animal slavery, it becomes serious. So I think that would be probably the way to do that. Patron, thank you so much. You became a Patreon. Thank you to do this during so many times. Well, thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. Please go vegan immediately, like right now, yesterday. Really appreciate you supporting me on Patreon and going vegan. Hopefully, you have to go vegan. Everybody has to go vegan. But anyways, so let me know, guys, what you think about the lighthearted approach. Is very interesting.
Resources, land, water, food it takes to raise, kill, and then just farm in general 80 billion animals.
Haven't we been farming, killing, and eating 80 billion
See, she's getting serious. So
animals since like the beginning of time?
Well, in the beginning of time, people hunted and gathered. They didn't domesticate animals.
Ew, yeah, but then you're saying like it's okay to hunt. I know she's not for hunting, but they don't know that, you know. It's not like hunters also use animals. They also exploit their bodies. Exploiting someone means using them for your benefits, basically against their benefit as well. But there are slaves. Animals' choice is a good approach to me. I agree. I do that as well. I think it's a good. I mean, I think it's the most effective approach. That's why I do that.
Demand is a lot higher for meat and dairy.
Is it more that like their gas, like the like
I love you. I've always been with you.
I think it's fine. I think everybody should have the option.
So you think
Funny. What the hell happened there?
everybody should have the option to what?
Eat whatever dietary preferences they want to eat.
So do you think that if somebody wanted Rutgers University to put Labrador Retriever in their cafes, that they should do it just because students want it?
Not really, because socially, we prioritize a lab over something like a cow or a pig. That's how it is. I don't really like it, but
Why? What's the difference?
we just do. It's just been hundreds of years of. I'm not saying it's good or bad, right? But it just is what it is, right?
Yeah, but she might be doing that afterwards. But like, saying like, well, okay, but slavery, human slavery, like owning someone else's property, let's say, was socially accepted before. So was rape at some point in history and other things like that. So I mean, that can be helpful.
I think it's bad.
It's good or bad. It is.
I don't think saying I think is bad is good. I think using objective statements, saying like it's not okay because of the victim's point of view, like from the victim's point of view, blah blah blah. This is more powerful than just saying I think, because if you're saying I think or I feel like, it comes across as this is your opinion. It's subjective. It's a subjective. I mean, it is our opinion, right? But we're trying to drive home the fact that it's an objective thing. Like from the victim's point of view, because there is a victim of slavery, etc. It's not okay. Just like it's objective, that's rape is wrong, because from the victim's point of view, it's not okay. And then you could say, well, it's subjective from the victim's point of view. Well, okay, you could argue that, whatever. But like, would you use that as an argument to make murder okay or rape okay, for example, or human slavery okay?
It is what it is. Like, it's. What are you gonna do?
But we've been doing a lot of things for hundreds of years, right?
It might also have to do with what content she uses in her videos. Let me know what you mean by that, because I don't really. Oh, is that referring to your previous chat? I think she makes their arguments look ridiculous without putting up walls. Yes, in some sense, but hold on. I think I haven't watched her videos enough to kind of comment on that. Sometimes she does, but sometimes I don't agree that she does do that, unfortunately. Yes, in the beginning it is fine, but humor the way through trivializes the animals. I agree. Yeah, but you can. Yeah.
May not have been so good or ethical, right? So as a society, we should evolve and make better choices with new information when we receive it.
It's interesting how she can put off like looking at the camera and the person. I think it breaks rapport, honestly. I don't do that, and it makes it awkward, honestly. I've never tried that, to look at the camera when I'm making a point. I don't know. Also, see, she does show some graphic stuff in this video. Nice.
I've long suspected that Rutgers has had a connection to the meat industry.
I'm sure they have some sort of deal.
Yeah, it's just when I go into the atrium and I see all the meat there, I'm kind of thinking, what's Rutgers getting out of this? You can like heavily imply without saying definitively.
Oh, okay. I like where this is going. We'll have to look further into this. So guys, we're going to go
I don't like that as much though, because this is making it about, is it a school? Yeah, it's a college, right? I'm not sure, whatever. So I think it's a college. It's making it about their responsibility and not the passersby's responsibility to change. And I think that's really the crux of where we need to look at. Because people will just ping pong responsibility at each other all day, but it's a problem as well. Thank you so much for being here, Leah. Oops. If you get the time, please check out Gillian Berry. She promotes raw veganism, more to do with nutrition, how healthy it can be. No ethical aspect to it, but does promote veganism. I don't agree that it does if there is no ethical aspect to it. I think that veganism, like, it's problematic when someone promotes veganism as a diet and as a health thing, because it's literally not what it wasn't made for. The reason why they created the word veganism in the first place was to make it about the animals only and to just have a movement for them. So if which like it trivializes the animals, it just takes them out of their own movement. I think it's really bad to. I think the way to do it is to talk about, for example, in this case, a raw vegan, fully plant-based diet. There you go. No problem there. I have no issue with that. It's when you call it vegan that I have an issue with that. But thank you for the suggestion.
Inside the Rutgers dining hall and ask them why they're not vegan. I mean, come on. What do you guys think about it? All Rutgers dining halls should be vegan. How do we feel? I'm being.
I don't like. I used to have a thing like my first way of doing outreach was on campus, and I had a sign with like a why aren't you vegan? Come talk to me, or something like that. Let's talk. Why aren't you vegan? And I would just get people like shouting stuff at me, and the people that would come would be either vegans or people very very close to it, or vegetarians, which is not bad, but it's not what I want to do. I want to have as large a pool of people to talk to as I can. And I feel like there are people, when they know it's about veganism, their brain explodes from the get-go. And so they're not very honest intellectually and not very open-minded. So honestly, the only way I like to do outreach is to do it with the reverse psychology method. That way we already agree on everything that I'm going to pull them through. Like, oh, welfareism is not okay when it comes to slavery. Doesn't matter what the slavery wants, blah, blah, blah. It's not okay to take advantage of someone more vulnerable than us. And they all agree on that, and then we only have to establish the name of the trait thing.
Ignored. Yeah, so this is how I feel, guys. All Rutgers dining halls should be vegan. None of this nonsense back here should be going on. How do you feel about it? All Rutgers dining halls should be vegan.
Yeah, if you have the willpower to.
I don't like the, making it about how you feel. Like, I understand it's how she feels, but it doesn't help subconsciously or whatever for the message to come across strongly, because then it's just like, oh, I feel like it shouldn't be like that. It's like, no. Exactly, Martin Luther King didn't say, I feel like we should be united, like that there shouldn't be segregation and whatever, like racism, blah blah blah. I feel like it's not nice, it's not very good. It's a weak way to say it, I don't doubt that her convictions are very strong, obviously, but I think that's not the most effective way of saying it. When it comes to something as grave as that. Okay.
To do it, everybody should be vegan.
I love you, man. You're freaking awesome. Thank you.
And then you have to go vegan. Then if you're saying that you have to, someone has to take responsibility. Like, like at some point, if you say that, it's amazing, but you have to be vegan.
Oh, I can't?
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I will.
In the dining room.
Okay, do you think that
I would never try to do that. Like, it's obvious you can't do that in there. Yeah.
the Rutgers dining hall should be vegan? Why not?
What about people who enjoy meat?
But what about the animals that want to live?
We have 2 items here that have red meat. That's it. There are 3
So
items.
it would be so easy to get rid of that.
Yeah, but then we're like saying that it's about the red meat, which it's not. It's just confusing. Yeah, it's pretty bad, like, to say it like that. Because then you're making them think that it's about red meat, which is not at all.
They didn't like us filming in there very much.
And I felt like it was because of what we're promoting a lot of the times. Like if we were to go and say we were representatives from the meat and dairy industry saying, you guys really should put more chicken on pizza and this, that, and the other thing, they wouldn't be telling you not to film. So it's like the reason why they're having us get out and everything's behind closed doors, I think is because there's something to hide.
I was actually vegan because I dated a vegan.
It's not necessarily authorized to film at all, like, or to. I mean, I asked through email the person on campus, like the people who were I don't remember. This is someone in the administration, whatever, to know if I could film on campus. And they said, yeah, you can at this specific place on campus. It's like a solicitor or whatever, like something where people do stuff like that. And but not in the buildings. Like you're not allowed to do it in the buildings, and you have to have like a form. I mean, at least on my campus where I live, you have to have a sign, like a form, a release, like what is it, a model release form, so to make sure that you can use the students' image, but because it's on campus. Otherwise, you don't have to do that. That's why I don't do it there anymore, because it's annoying. It's too much paper, but and it's an added barrier. But
Vegan girl, and she was very cute, and I converted for her. I know, yeah.
I never dated anyone who was vegan, so I've never really had a reason to do it.
It's never too late. It's really a great experience, right?
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I could find you a vegan.
I have some vegan friends, but continue.
Are they like hot vegan friends?
I mean, all vegans are
freaking weird. This is freaking weird. Like, this is weird. I don't like this. This is weird because I mean, I get it. It happens, but it's too light. I don't like that. It's too light.
They're hot. We don't reek of death, honey.
Yeah, but this is weird. This is about anything but the victims in some sense. I get it. She said like death or whatever, but it's too getting away from the point. You can be vegan and not hot, etc. Like,
what?
You said that you're vegetarian or you're vegan?
I'm vegetarian.
So why do you still consume dairy?
Milk is essential part of my life. Apart from that, if I have to give up everything, I can give up everything.
I think it's good to say yes, dairy, but also like mention that it's not a diet, blah blah blah. It's about all these other things I already talked about, because people don't know really that.
If I find any alternative to milk, I would love to try.
Have you tried oat milk, hemp milk, soy milk?
I can try. I'm not saying I'm not open to trying, but what is the problem with dairy things?
That's a really good question. I'd love to tell you. The problem with the dairy industry is
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
What is the problem with dairy things?
That's a really good question. I'd love to tell you.
That's nice because it feels like a genuinely curious question.
The problem with the dairy industry is a slaughter industry.
That's not the problem with it. I mean, yes, it's part of the problem, but even if you didn't kill them, you would still be enslaving them. That's why footage is so damn important. Like, I think footage, at some point I did outreach without footage, and I regret it because I don't know what the hell was going through my head. I know why. It's because people would say no and I want to go ahead and leave. But now I found a way to do it without telling them it's about veganism. I just tell them, like, can I show you a short video? It's part of the social experiment. I have to let you know it's hard to watch enough. And usually they say yes. And after that, we talk about the fact that it's about veganism, because then they have seen the victims of their choices, and it's much easier to talk about it from that place. Because we know what it's about. Like, we kind of empathize with the victims at least a little bit, hopefully. So
every single dairy cow is forcefully impregnated.
It's interesting. I used the exact same footage. It's from Dominion.
Because cows have to be pregnant to produce milk. Did you know that? Okay, so if it's a baby boy cow, what do you think happens to that baby boy most of the time?
I have no idea.
The baby boys are sent to the slaughterhouse for veal. Are you aware of what happens in the egg industry?
It's so trippy because obviously you can use the footage from Dominion because it's free online, and it's like, like through a screen capture thing, which I use Cam 8, just a little tip if you edit. You can record that and then add it to your thing, and they will never come after you because Dominion people obviously love you doing stuff like this, so don't worry about that. And also, it's free on YouTube. But it's so trippy because we use the same footage.
No, I'm actually not.
In the egg industry, there's chicks that are hatched in a hatchery, and if they're females, they will be debeaked and oftentimes put into dark sheds their entire lives, and they will be laying eggs for years, and once their production slows down, the chickens are killed. And then the male baby chicks, this is really the messed up part with the egg industry, are killed first day of life. They are ground up in macerators and sometimes drowned, electrocuted, gassed. This is the egg industry.
That's awful. I know, I like never really thought about that. I was just kind of like, because it's not what you think, like you don't think that that's going to happen, but it does.
I eat kosher, right?
That's one of the worst forms of animal slaughter. They don't stun the animal beforehand.
Yeah, but again, like making it about the humane thing. Because okay, in the footage we talk about the treatment of the victims so that they can connect with the victims, but afterwards we have to make sure to tell them it's not about the treatment, it's about the fact that they're slaves. And it's horrific. Yeah, of course, how they're treated is horrible. It's important to see their suffering, etc. But it's usually what makes people understand the urgency as well. But yeah.
It's the most humane way to.
How do they kill the animal?
There's a certain way, a very specific way that they sharpen a blade, and that's exactly how they're supposed to kill an animal. That makes it the most humane way.
Would you want this done to you?
Yeah, if rather than like anything else.
But what if you didn't have to have it done to you?
Okay, that's not your choice. We have to eat.
We can eat plants. I mean, I haven't
It's not
eaten an
your
animal
choice to do this to someone else. Are you kidding me?
in over 7 years.
Do you feel? Hold on, wait. Let me do this. Do you feel any like health effects from that?
I feel amazing. My blood work is perfect. My iron, my B12, my protein.
Iron from?
Many things. Leafy greens, dates, pumpkin seeds. Iron is very high in those foods.
Tell me something. What made you think that kosher was the worst way to kill an animal?
Because I've seen it in person. I've been to many slaughterhouses.
Did you there's like Harvard studies about how it is literally the most painless way to kill an animal?
Well, is the
Who cares? This is a conversation. We don't need to go down. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
animal telling you that as their throat is slit, as they're hanging in the slaughterhouse? I mean,
They did some like neuron shit, I think. In killing someone, you can demonstrate humanity and not, right?
how would you want to be killed? Have your throat
It's so funny.
slit, bolt gun to the head? I mean, why not just do any of it? It's violent.
What we're trying to
Yeah, we like I think putting the human in the human scenario. So if a murderer says, I did it humanely, like if he's careful to not make them suffer, is that okay?
get across is that no matter how you were to kill someone, bottom line is you're still killing it. You're ending their life
I wouldn't say it because that's
without them agreeing to it.
I hear that.
Funny enough, I actually tried being vegan for 6-8 months back when the pandemic first hit, way back when. And, listen, I did feel healthier, but the problem is a lot of times you cannot afford, the broccoli.
What are the cheapest foods in the supermarket?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
Think about it.
Really making me think.
Take a guess.
Like the vegetables.
Rice.
I like that, but I tend to like, because sometimes they might not even agree with you. They might say something that's not vegan or whatever. So I just go straight to the study, 2021 study, which is in the discussion below, by the way. In 150 countries around the world, and they found that in Western countries, it's cheaper to be on a fully plant-based diet. It's 1/3 cheaper than on a standard diet.
Beans, vegetables, seasonal produce.
Effort that I guess I'm not willing to put in.
No, I mean, I agree. And, it's easy to say, right, just eat like rice and beans and vegetables and stuff. But like a lot of times, one, that does get relatively boring. And I would probably want some kind of other option like.
It would be nice to just be like, okay, well, that's not true because we have so many options now. But also, does that matter? Like, is this actually a justification for enslaving someone else because it's convenient? It's disgusting. Like, come on. But anyways, let's focus on the outreach instead.
Like chicken. Like beef.
You're saying that our taste, pleasure alone is more important than an animal's life.
Yes.
By your logic, you're saying that just because we get some sort of experience from doing an action, that it's okay because we get that experience, no matter what that action is.
I love that.
I would qualify my statement to probably only limit it to like the killing of animals and consumption for food.
Isn't killing the worst thing that we can do to them?
I mean, sure, but like, how else are we gonna how else are we gonna eat them?
We're gonna go vegan. You don't have to eat them. Would you be open to learning the information and seeing it?
There is no harm in learning it.
I don't like that. Would you be open to do that? Because I wanted to come across like you should, and that I'm trying to make it like an obligation kind of thing, not like, oh, would you like to do that kind of thing, you know? So that's why I wouldn't say that.
You're so sweet. I'm so glad. So today, from this moment forward, you're going to look further into the dairy industry, maybe go from vegetarian to vegan, and maybe hold Rutgers dining halls accountable and have a conversation with them and say, we are a leading university. We do not want to be hurting animals. We do not want to be destroying the planet and hurting human bodies in the process. So Rutgers dining halls, you should go vegan.
It's like fighting against the system, but if all of them agrees, I don't mind.
I think really the key would be to like still replicate the act of like flaying and like attacking the animal, like the murder, but like the process, like what makes like the food, but make it out of plants instead. It's not hurting an actual animal.
There you go. Thank you. You're you know what? You're ahead of your game. So we're gonna work on Rutgers and
Like a plant, you know, like Pokemon, like how they have like cows, like animals that are like made out of plants.
Sure.
Like a Bulbasaur almost.
What can I do as one person to fix a whole system?
If everybody had that mindset and said, oh, just because nobody else is doing it, I shouldn't either, we would live in a really scary world. I think if we all as individuals take responsibility and you being somebody that's open-minded, that may be willing to change.
Not open-minded, but yeah, I get what she's doing that. But like totally, I love that. And also you know, saying and also because they are doing that doesn't make it okay for you to do it. Like for example, in the past, like Nazis or whatever, like a slavery, whatever example, you know.
You could lead other people to make that change.
I could make a decision to just, you know, go vegan.
Yeah, you could.
I could, you know, and that's fine.
And you could live with your morals, because as you said in the beginning, you said that you like animals and that you don't really see the difference between a dog.
I don't like that. Like I understand it, but again, it's like kind of coming from the assumption that you need to like them to not to leave them alone.
Dog, a cow, a chicken, pig.
Yeah. You know,
Like you wouldn't say it's okay for me to enslave or use the body of someone I don't like, you know. It's not about that.
Something to think about. I think, you know, if we with any issue, if we say, oh, well, the things need to happen, other people need to do things, place the blame on other people, nothing gets done. What a day it has been, you guys, talking to students at my alma mater, Rutgers University, and trying to convince them to make their dining halls 100% plant-based. I think we got most of them. What do you think? I would say so. They see where I'm coming from. Students should not have the option to continue abusing animals, no matter how much they like their flesh. So until next time,
Yeah, why say their flesh? What about why not say their flesh and the secretions or whatever, you know?
guys, hopefully Rutgers will go
We're not
vegan.
vegetarians.
And I'll come back here and film another kind of video. And you know the drill. Follow me at It's Jamie's Corner. I love and appreciate you all. And go vegan. Bye.
Well, that is the last video for this viewing. So obviously appreciate all the activists out there, Jamie and Moral Warriors, for doing the hard work, because it's hard to do outreach. So I really appreciate you guys. I'm nitpicking so that we can all get better, me included. Trying to think about the outreach. Please feel free to give me feedback, obviously, on my own outreach. That is always very helpful. I don't answer comments anymore because it's too much, and I'd rather put my efforts in other forms of activism than commenting. But I always read the comments, so please always give me the feedback if you're able to. That is always very helpful, and I take I've taken a bunch of feedback from the comments, so it really does help make me better. And this is the whole point of this, anyway. So yeah, I might be a little harsh sometimes, but it's never against the person. Obviously, I love that they're doing the activism. It's just trying to build us up as a movement, I guess. And yeah, so what? Yeah, so next, I mean, every 2 weeks is an outreach video, and then the next week is always an outreach thing. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, all of that, and consider becoming a Patreon member. I have exclusive content on Patreon. It's like $1, $3, and $5, or it can be more. And there's also Q&As, things like that, if you're interested, and also just supporting my activism, because this is my full-time occupation, so it does really help. Yeah, what else? I think that's all, guys. Lucy, would you ever do activism in France? Well, if I had to go back and I couldn't choose to stay here, I would, of course. But since I'm here, I'm very happy I'm here because honestly, it's just you can have way more reach in English than in French because of obviously the English language being the language that is the universal language. So it would be very hard to deal with for myself. Just knowing that it would be only French speakers being able to watch me would be really rough. So I'm glad I'm not there. But if I had to be there, yes. But I have my green card now, so I should be able to stay here. So thanks so much, guys. Have a good one, and see you next week with an outreach video. Bye. Please also obviously go vegan. Sorry, I forgot that. Go vegan. Educate yourself to be a better activist and be active in any capacity you can, in any way that you'd like. See ya.